Hello. So in this video, I will use the Elastic Container Service to create a cluster, EC2 cluster, to deploy an application image, right? A Docker image, right? So the image have been pushed to the Elastic Container Registry, right? I did that in a previous video by writing a Jenkins pipeline, right? I wrote a Jenkins pipeline and it was successful. This was the output, right? So this is the output. So the image was pushed, right? So now what I want to do now is I want to create, a cluster. So I'm going to come to Amazon Elastic Container Service, right, to deploy the application. So I'm going to click on cluster and create cluster. So I'm just going to put the name of the cluster, which is going to be JK Web App Cluster. So then I'm going to use Amazon EC2 instance instead of Fargage. And I'm going to create, let me see. So I'm going to create an auto scaling group, right? That will kind of help to scale, you know. So then I will leave Amazon Linux. I will leave the T2 micro for the instant type. Then automatically it's going to create an instance role for the minimum. I'll put 2 for the maximum number of EC2 instance, right? So this one is going to create a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 2. Then for the SSH key, we are going to use the key. This was the key that was created when I created the EC2 instance in some previous video. So I'm going to leave all these. I will use the default VPC, default subnets. I'll use the existing security group. And then for the auto assign IP, I'll just click on turn on and then I'll create. So this will take a while. So I'm going to take a break. So the cluster has been created successfully, right? So it has been created successfully. So this is it. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is to create a task definition, right? So let's click on task definition, and then we are going to create a new task. So create a new task. And this will define, basically this will define the task, you're right? The task that is the container that will be executed, right? It's kind of like as though we want to run in Docker, you want to run Docker run. After you create the image with Docker build, then to create a container, you use Docker run, right? So now let's give a name for the task. We are going to call it JK Web App TD for task definition. And then for the infrastructure, we are going to use the EC2, right? And let's see. So we'll leave this one. So we use this role that was created. We use that role. And for the container, right? So let's put a name for the container. So we'll put JK Web App Container. JK Web App CTR container. Now we need to get the URL from the ECR, right? Elastic Container Registry. We need to get this, we need to get the URL. So let me click on this and then copy this, right? And I'll come back and then put the URL from the ECR, right? This ECR is where the image, we created the image, right? So Okay, so continue. So I need to uncheck this AWS Fargate, right? Because I just want to use EC2. I just want a cluster of EC2. And for the memory, I'm going to reduce it to 0.25 gig. And and okay, so I'll do 0.25. And what else again? Just making sure everything looks good. Okay, so for the container, okay, I need to copy that again. And then I'll paste it here, paste. And the port, this port will be port 8000. That will be, the container will be responding, will be listening on this port, right? So we need to check if the security group has this port open. So we are going to check that. So let me come back to, so if you look at this, the code commit where the repository where our file, application file is stored, right? So now if you look at this, expose port 8000. So that's why I say I have to put port 8000 here. And let me see. Leave all these, leave all these. Then I will uncheck use log collection. Let me see, is there any other thing again? Then I'm just going to create. Let me just do a final run. Just want to make sure that everything looks good. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to create. So view tax. So this has been created, right? So view tax definition. So this has been created, right? So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create, what's it called? I'm going to create a service, right? I need to create a service, So I'm going to create a service, and so it already gave it, yeah. So I have a JK web app cluster. That's from the cluster. This is the cluster name, right? So then the launch type will be EC2. And let's see. So the service name, I need to give a service name. So let me see. So service. Or put JK web app TD. Yeah, so like the task definition name, basically. So we'll just put that there. I will leave this one. And then for the desired task, I'll put two, specify the number of tasks to launch. For the replica, place and maintain a desired number of tasks across your cluster, 2. And availability is the rebalancing, we'll leave that one. Then I'm going to come to let me see, deployment option. So for deployment option, I'm going to change this to 50% and then this to 100%, right? So that if one of the EC2 instance is shut down, the other one will be running, right? So then what else again? Networking, let's see, the default VPC, subnet, security group. Yeah, I think the default. Then the next one will be load balancing. So let me see. So use load balancing. So I'm going to choose application load balancer. And so it's going to be port 8000 to port 8000, correct? Then let me see, create a new load balancer. We'll just put a name, say JK Web App Load Balancer, LB. Then also for the target group, so let me see. So let me see, target group. Okay, just gonna leave it like that. Let me just change it to this TD, target group. Okay, so let's just look through. And so for this one, just make it TG for target group, right? And through, I think everything looks good. Look through. Okay, and then we are going to create this service. So the maximum running tax must. Okay, so when availability zone rebalancing is turned on. So let me turn this off. So this is availability zone rebalancing. Okay. Okay. Just create. So let's view in CloudFormation. Let's just view the event as everything is being created. Okay. Load balancer, the target group is creating progress. This one is completed. Creating progress. Yeah. So we are using CloudFormation to just look at how, we can look at, the output. Is the Elastic, the ECS cluster that was created. Got the resources, the templates, CS cluster, know that. So let's just see. Okay, still creating. Then we can come back. Still, to take a few minutes. Just take a short break, and then I'll be back. So the service have been created, right? See that it has been created. Now let's view the service, and if we go to, okay, so this is it. So let me see, let me get back to my cluster. And then on the service, right, if I click on this, so I have my load balancer, right? So this is my load balancer here. Okay, configuration and networking. So this is my DNS, yeah. So this is I can open the application from there. It's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Okay, so we have the application is not coming up. Let's go back and see what's the reason. Check everything again. Everything looks good. So let me go back to my EC2 instance. Oh, okay. I think I need to check the security group. Yeah. So I need to check the security group if that has port 8000 opened. Okay. Let me go back to my EC2 instance. I think that's it. In a new tab. Okay. So these are the two EC2 instance that was deployed. So let's check security. Oh, okay. So we need to edit the inbound rules. We need to edit the inbound rules. So let me click on this. And then we need to ensure that it has put 8000. So add 8000 public, save. This for the, yeah, to 69F13. Let me check the other EC2 instance. Okay, so port 8000 is open now. So I'm going to try to run the application again. So let me see, run it again. I think that might be, it's taking a while. I'm going to kill it, and then I'll come back to cluster because everything looks good, right? So configuration and it's working. Let me open this, just to make sure. Okay, yeah, that's what I configured. That's put 8000 open. Another thing we can try is to see if port 80 is open. So I'm going to open the security group in another tab and then add port 80. So edit inbound rules. So put 80. Okay. Then I'm going to save. Okay. So I have put 8000, put 80. Okay. So now let me come back and see if I can access the application. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. So here is the application with the, so we have to be very careful, right? Um, you know, You have to be very, very careful. Yeah, so here is the application. It's amazing. It's amazing. So with the URL of the um, load balancer, right? So this was the name of the load balancer. So here is it. Okay, so now we need to do something more, right? And I'm going to do that in another video. Here we are going to use Jenkins to kind of make a modification to our Docker file and also to kind of add you know color to this, right? Add the style.css, because currently, if you look at our repo, right, the style.css is is commented out, right? So that's why you see the application does not have any color, it's just there. So that's it. Thank you.